WWE stars rallying officials to bring in top talents for WrestleMania 41, the best and worst of WWE Raw. What is an unsanctioned WWE match? Adam Pearce sends a very concerning message after Raw. Disappointing news on Finn Balor after WWE Raw. WWE makes a huge announcement on Liv Morgan. Michael Cole congratulates a newly crowned champion. Big inside update on WWE taking creative input from superstars. Let's dive right in. The best and worst of WWE Raw. The lineup for both Elimination Chamber matches was finalized after Seth Rollins and Roxanne Perez qualified on Raw. Rollins and Finn Balor had another good encounter with a title shot on the line. Penta earned another win over Pete Dunne, but Dunne wasn't happy that Ludwig Kaiser interfered in his business. The New Day explained why they attacked Rey Mysterio, bringing up that his name hasn't helped any of the young luchadors get over in WWE. They weren't wrong about that reasoning, but got beat down by three faces. Gunther also took some die-hard Jey Uso fans to task before the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble winner rushed him in the ring. With 2 weeks remaining until the Elimination Chamber Premium Live event, here's the best and worst of Raw. Number 1. Best and worst. Gunther tests Jey Uso's loyalists. Gunther decided to see what life was like as his WrestleMania opponent, Jey Uso. The ring general entered through the crowd and mocked the WWE Universe for being simple like Jey. The best part was Gunther asking supposed unbiased announcers Pat McAfee and Michael Cole for their thoughts, considering they are clearly huge fans of Jey Uso. Announcers are supposed to call the action and remain mostly objective. With Jey Uso, Cole and McAfee come off as more fans than analysts. The ringer general criticized both men for not being unbiased before asking if they believed Jey could win in April. Both men immediately turtled up when asked face-to-face. McAfee eventually said Jey could win. The problem was, WWE ran with the thought that no one believed Jey could defeat Gunther, except for all the fans, his friends, and both Raw commentators. It didn't make sense. Number 2. Best. Dakota Kai earns a rematch with Lyra Valkyria. Due to the recent encounters and teases, it felt like Ivy Nile would get the first crack at Women's Intercontinental Champion Lyra Valkyria. Nile eliminated Lyra from the Royal Rumble, leading to a confrontation between the two backstage. Dakota Kai never got a rematch with Valkyria like Michin did for the Women's United States title. When Nile and Kai faced off for a shot at Valkyrie, it was the longtime veteran who came out on top. It's nice to see Kai get a second chance and not get brushed aside. She's slowly grown in popularity and would be directionless with a loss. Nile could still go after the champ and has years ahead of her as she greatly improves her mic skills. Number 3. Worst. The cheerleading detective agency. Nick Aldis showed Bianca Belair and Naomi an ambiguous video of Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez walking toward the Jade Cargill attack scene on SmackDown. The tag team champs then promised to get revenge on Raw. WWE must have felt the need to have Belair on Raw because Rhea Ripley was in Australia with her partner, Buddy Matthews, for AEW Grand Slam. The tag team champions rushed out to distract Raquel Rodriguez during her match with Roxanne Perez. It worked long enough for the Prodigy to get the win. The weird thing was Naomi and Belair randomly came out dressed as cheerleaders from a movie. Was it to say the feud is on? It already has been on for months. They also said it was the first shred of evidence since the attack in November, but they may not have looked very hard for clues. Perhaps it's because they attacked Cargill, but the logic has been weak. Number 4. Best and worst. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens at the Elimination Chamber. Sami Zayn kicked off Raw to demand a fight with Kevin Owens. He claimed this attack from KO was different, and it was. His anger is mainly because Zayn, like Cody Rhodes, has chosen to be more loyal to Roman Reigns, even if briefly, than to their supposed friend. Rhodes and Zayn never listened to this reasoning despite Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, Owens, and others echoing that sentiment. The stars were obviously headed for another clash, and having one in Toronto makes sense. The issue is that it was booked as an unsanctioned match, which would have been a perfect non-title spectacle for WrestleMania 41. The two should face off in Toronto to set up the unsanctioned fight at the show of shows. Number 5. Best. AJ Styles teaches two young dogs meaningful tricks. The Phenomenal One. AJ Styles competed in his first match on Raw in 2 years when he battled Dominic Mysterio. After a brief fight, Styles countered a Hurricane Rana into a Styles Clash. Despite being 47 years old and recovering from an injury, he proved that he still has plenty to offer inside the ring. After his win, Braun Breaker attempted to blindside him with a spear, but Styles moved and Dirty Dom ate the spear instead. Young stars need to work their way up and learn from their mistakes. Braun did this against Zayn and won the Intercontinental title. It also teased a potential WrestleMania match between the veteran and the former NXT champion. Number 6. Worst. Braun Breaker vs. Raw on Netflix. When WWE's deal to air Raw on Netflix was announced, it felt like Braun Breaker would be one of the stars that the brand would revolve around. He did win the Intercontinental title twice in 2024. Once the Netflix era began, however, fans might have forgotten he is the champion. Breakker has been featured sporadically on the new platform and had a brief in-ring interaction with AJ Styles on Raw. This is unacceptable for one of WWE's champions. He received the same amount of screen time as random people from Netflix reality shows and a streamer. Number 7. Best and Worst. The Prodigy overcomes strange match dynamics. After falling short in regaining the NXT Women's title at Vengeance Day, Roxanne Perez quickly pivoted to an Elimination Chamber qualifying match against Raquel Rodriguez. Both women cut heel promos ahead of the Raw showdown and continued the character work throughout the match. It was a weird heel versus heel dynamic for such an important spot. Perez was the face by default since she was smaller, newer, and had exciting moves. The stars meshed well, with Perez amping up her strikes and Rodriguez falling victim to Roxy's speed and in-ring IQ. The Prodigy winning was also the right call since the field would have been mostly the same as last year's if the Judgment Day member had qualified. What is an unsanctioned WWE match? During the latest episode of WWE Raw on Netflix, Adam Pearce declared an unsanctioned match for Elimination Chamber 2025. Sami Zayn appeared on the show and voiced his anger and thirst for revenge against Kevin Owens for his actions. However, the Raw general manager confronted Sami and notified him that he wasn't medically fit, implying the match couldn't be made official. In response, the honorary Uso did everything he could to convince Pearce to sanction the match. This ultimately led to the authority figure confirming Sami versus KO for the forthcoming PLE. However, Adam Pearce clarified that this would be an unsanctioned match in WWE. Veteran professional wrestling fans are surely acquainted with this stipulation, but there is still some confusion concerning what an unsanctioned match means in WWE. Essentially, it denotes that the company does not take obligation or liability for the match despite being in the squared circle. Such matches are commonly made official when stars want to tear each other apart, and WWE is doubtful about how things will unfold. Therefore, whatever happens between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in an unsanctioned match, Triple H and the team will not be held accountable. Instead, the absolute liability rests on the shoulders of both stars. With no rules in place, anything can happen. This makes their showdown even more compelling. Of course, this stipulation is also part of a storyline angle devised to add more heat to the restless rivalry. Furthermore, as Adam Pearce remarked, if KO whips Sami by positioning a chair around his neck or doing something equally rugged, he will not intervene. This firmly suggests that fans will experience something stormy at the forthcoming PLE when Sami and Kevin Owens collide in an unsanctioned bout. The last time Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens clashed at a PLE was at WWE Hell in a Cell 2021. Here, both stars contested in a singles match, but this did not have a Hell in a Cell stipulation. The showdown ended with a victory for the honorary Uso, who conquered the prizefighter after a 12-minute battle. However, a rematch took place between them on SmackDown in a last man standing match, where Owens got his redemption and materialized as the victor. This means that Sami Zayn currently holds the last PLE victory in their rivalry. It remains to be seen whether Kevin Owens can even the score at Elimination Chamber 2025. Adam Pearce sends a very concerning message after Raw. Adam Pearce seems to be aware that things could spiral out of control after he made a major decision on this week's episode of WWE Raw. The on-screen Raw general manager announced that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens would collide in an unsanctioned match at the upcoming Elimination Chamber PLE. Even though Zayn came to his rescue after his brutal spot in the ladder match at Royal Rumble 2025, Owens did the unthinkable by attacking him just days later. The prizefighter took out his former best friend with the same package piledriver that had injured Randy Orton and put him on the shelf for an undisclosed period. However, Sami Zayn seems to have recovered in time and demanded Adam Pearce to put him against Kevin Owens in the ring. A reluctant Pearce stated that while he couldn't grant him a match in an official capacity due to him not being cleared, he agreed to give him an unsanctioned match against Owens. Adam Pearce has now sent out a message on X/Twitter, saying he was scared Zayn and Owens could take things too far at Elimination Chamber 2025. Pearce was concerned about the damage both men could do to each other, and earlier in the night, he even warned Zayn that it could be his last match ever, given the barbarism both men were capable of. Sami is right. I've seen 20-plus years of the story he and KO have told. Battles together and in opposition, championships won, wars devoid of honor. So it goes again. I've seen how far this can go. I'm afraid of how far this can go. It's not official. It's unsanctioned, tweeted Pearce. Fans would surely be divided in support of Zayn and Owens as they would be competing in their home country of Canada on March 1st. Disappointing news on Finn Balor after WWE Raw. Finn Balor had a forgettable night on the latest episode of WWE Raw. Disappointing news about the Irishman has surfaced online after the show tonight. The Prince and Seth Rollins faced each other in the main event of Raw on Netflix to secure the 6th and final spot in the Elimination Chamber match. After a back-and-forth contest, the Visionary hit the Judgment Day member with a stomp to pick up the win and punched his ticket to the Elimination Chamber in Canada on March 1st. Meanwhile, Finn Balor fans won't be pleased not only because of the outcome, but also due to the Irishman's poor record in recent months. After losing to Rollins, the former WWE Universal Champion is now 1-7 in his last 8 televised matches. He last won a match in November last year when he and JD McDonough defeated the War Raiders on Raw. Balor's booking has been a topic of concern among fans, especially after rumors suggested that he was in line for a major singles push this year. The issues within the Judgment Day continue to mount with each passing week. Finn Balor has also turned down Dominic Mysterio's idea to add new members to the faction. Is WWE heading towards a WrestleMania 41 match between the two Judgment Day members? Only time will tell. WWE makes a huge announcement on Liv Morgan. WWE made an interesting announcement on Liv Morgan during this week's edition of Raw that's sure to please her legion of fans. It was confirmed that Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez would challenge Bianca Belair and Naomi for the coveted women's tag team titles on next week's episode of the Monday Night Show. Morgan and Rodriguez lay their claim to a title match after defeating Belair and Naomi in a non-title bout on the January 27th edition of WWE Raw. Since then, it was only a matter of time before the Judgment Day duo were announced to challenge for the gold. And now, it has finally been confirmed that Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez will indeed face Belair and Naomi on next week's Raw. Morgan has a busy few weeks ahead. She's also gearing up to participate in the Women's Elimination Chamber match on March 1st. The winner will face Rhea Ripley for the Women's World title at WrestleMania 41. Moreover, it was also recently revealed that Liv Morgan would go to war against Ripley in a series of matches on WWE's Europe tour in late March. As such, it's safe to say there's plenty of chance we could see the 30-year-old star draped in gold all over again soon. Michael Cole congratulates a newly crowned champion. Michael Cole took the time during WWE Raw to congratulate a newly crowned champion. The title change took place recently. At Vengeance Day, Stephanie Baker made a huge moment even bigger when she pinned Fallon Henley to win the Women's North American Championship. It was a huge moment for the star, as it was her first ever title in NXT since signing with WWE. Now that she has won the championship, she's one of the brand's top stars, justifying the current hype surrounding her. Michael Cole took the opportunity during Raw to bring her win to the attention of fans, saying it was a big deal for everyone. He then went on to congratulate her during the show, displaying his approval and support of the new champion. Fans noted the moment, but also criticized Cole's pronunciation of Stephanie's name. Whatever the case, the star is currently one of the top names in the company's women's division, and thanks to her appearances and mentions, has become a familiar name on the main roster as well. It remains to be seen how long she can hold on to her newly won title. Big inside update on WWE taking creative input from superstars. Key WWE decisions are made by Triple H and his inner circle, but the creative writing team creates the first storylines. Certain superstars have creative control, or at least some input. Now, there's an update on the creative process of today's Endeavor-run WWE and how wrestlers are involved. Bruce Pritchard is the current executive director of WWE's writing team. For years, the creative team has included wrestling veterans, Hollywood scriptwriters, and others. Former TNA X Division champion Drake Maverick currently writes for Raw, while WCW and TNA veteran Jeremy Barash is the senior director of content and development. The Emmy-nominated Christine Lubrano is the Senior Vice President of Creative Writing Operations. Michin has just provided an inside update on the process from a talent perspective. The HBIC revealed to Speakeasy that superstars can pitch as many creative ideas as they want. If a pitch is accepted and higher-ups like it, they try to implement it. The wrestler, formerly known as Mia Yim, estimated 2 out of every 50 ideas get approved. We obviously have the freedom and ability to pitch ideas, so we can send as many as we want. It just depends on what actually sticks. If creative likes it, if the higher-ups like it, then yeah, we'll do it. But most of the time, for every, I'd say, 50 pitches, you probably get 2 approved. It also depends on who you are. She also spoke on the kind of creative control someone like The Rock or Randy Orton has. I'm no top talent. I'm not on the level of Randy Orton or The Rock or anything like that. So, anything they pitch will most likely get approved. Whereas someone like me just has to keep tossing ideas and hoping one sticks. So yeah, we can pitch whatever we want, but we'll see if they actually go for it, Michin said. Michin worked WWE's Mae Young Classic in 2017 and 2018. leading to a contract offer from Triple H. The former TNA Knockouts World Champion was released on November 4, 2021, but brought back on November 7, 2022. Michin and B-Fab recently formed a team while feuding with Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. They have both kept their eyes on Green, hoping to dethrone the inaugural Women's United States Champion. B-Fab and Michin were not on Friday's SmackDown, as Green lost an Elimination Chamber qualifier to Naomi. However, Yim took to Instagram to share a clip of her and B-Fab backstage watching Green versus Naomi, keeping a close eye on the US Championship, and them groceries. Michin wrote Green is rumored to defend against Zelina Vega next. She defeated Michin to become champion in mid-December, then retained via pinfall in early January, and again by DQ at the end of last month. WWE stars rallying officials to bring in top talents for WrestleMania 41. WWE fans aren't the only ones pushing officials to sign familiar faces. Superstars have also reportedly launched behind-the-scenes campaigns to sign some top talents. World Wrestling Entertainment has signed several notable names as of late, including Penta and Jordynne Grace. Other talents are rumored to be headed back, including Aleister Black aka Malachi Black. Triple H and other officials are constantly bombarded by fans wanting certain wrestlers to be signed, but the chief content officer also receives the occasional heads-up from others in the company. WWE talents have apparently pushed officials to sign Rio and Man Like DeRice. Fightful Select recently reported that the top UK talents signing with the company were a hot topic of discussion backstage at the Valentine's Day event put on by Progress Wrestling, which comes ahead of a WWE star's farewell match against Rio. The Braided Bruiser and Mr. Cool are rumored for the tryout scheduled for London in early March. WWE talents have been pushing for the company to sign both names, but it remains to be seen if they will be booked for work as extras on the Road to WrestleMania tour that runs overseas from March 14th to March 31st. WWE has reached out to several promotions and schools about booking enhancement talents on the big tour. Rio worked a UK tryout in June 2019. Rio was at the WWE Performance Center last summer, but was just visiting and not offered a contract as rumored. It was noted then that the 28-year-old was open to working for the company and already had a visa worked out for a planned stint in the United States. DeRice and Rio trained with Natalya and Tyson Kidd while in the United States last year, and both have WrestleMania weekend dates. Rio is set to face NXT's Meiko Satomura at Progress Wrestling's Chapter 177 on February 23rd as part of the latter's retirement year.